I'm visiting with Kevin McArdle. He's running for City Council in Ward 2. Kevin, thanks for being here. And why are you running for City Council?
Well, I ran last year for a one-year term, and I wasn't really sure how I'd like it. And when it first started out, I was over my head because I didn't know anything about what took place there. But the more I got into it, and the more I got to know what was going on, I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the people I work with, on the council. After I finally got the swing of it, I found it enjoying, entertaining, and fun. I like digging into the projects and issues and seeing, the best way to try to handle some of them. And hopefully, my first year, I've heard from a lot of people. They said, "You got to run again. You did a good job. You weren't afraid to ask questions and dig for answers."
What special skills or knowledge do you bring to city government?
I think, like I said, I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm not afraid to dig for an answer or for a solution, whether it be right or wrong. I know a lot of people around, so I can ask them, what happened 20 years ago, what happened. I was around then, but I can still find out, what they think should be the right way. And I mean, a lot of it's just a lot of common sense where you just know, if it's when the question's asked, if you're for it or against it. It shouldn't take a long time to figure out yes or no on something, because in your heart, what the right answer is, or the right decision anyway.
Kevin, what do you believe should be the city's top 3 priorities over the next 3 years?
I've always said infrastructure, like the rec center when they had their water main break a week or so ago. That pipe was from 1951, which is old pipe, and there's a lot more in town, a lot older than that is. So I think we got to really address that stuff, because when it starts to go, it's going to go, and it's not cheap. And if we can stay ahead of the game a little bit, I think that's one thing we need to do. Sanborn Street's definitely something I think we need to finish, because it's a horrible street. I mean, it's bad. There's potholes in there. If you're on a bicycle, you might fly over the handlebars if you hit some of those potholes. I think that needs to continue to move north. It'll be nice when the first section's done. I see they poured some cement the other day, and it looks good. And I think we need to continue to work on the lake. Lake's a big issue. Going around my ward, talking to different people. In my area where we live, there's not a lot of people that are in favor of the lake, because they say I don't get to use it. But you get in different areas of town, and people, they're either for it or they're against it. And I think that we need to continue to work on that, and getting like the aquatic center open, pet performance open. Those are important things too, to keep the town growing and moving in the right direction.
And regarding Lake Mitchell improvement, how much do you believe the city should be willing to spend once a viable option is agreed upon?
That's a tough question, because there's some people that say don't spend anything, and there's some people that say open the checkbook up. But I think with the aquatic center, that was an $8 million project, and I have a lot of people that say we want to say in what happens at the lake, and we need to keep fiscal responsible. We can't get over our head in anything and have the lake, bury the city as far as financially. I think that personally that it should go to the vote of the public, and let the public decide what they want to do with the lake. But I think we need to educate them too, so they know exactly what they're voting for, because I think right now if people voted, they don't really know what's going on out there, and they'd probably vote it down. But I think we need to keep the people informed and educate them on what they're going to be voting for.
So what have been your sources of information regarding the Lake Mitchell project?
A lot of it, I've been to all the fire meetings when they've been there, so I've been taking notes and listening to what they have to say. My wife really doesn't care to go to the grocery store with me anymore, because if we go for a loaf of bread, it takes about an hour to get out of there, because there's always somebody that wants to talk about the lake, or the lake's a hot topic, and everybody's got their own opinion of it. Some people say you got to start in the water's edge. Some people say you should start in the lake. Personally, I'm not sure where you should start. And I went and listened to that guy yesterday at Tara's City Hall meeting, and everybody's got their own idea, but the solution is, that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to spend a bunch of money without any guarantees, and some of them, it's hard to get a guarantee on, when you're going to spend that kind of money. But I think we just need to do all the studies we can and get together, and come up with the best idea for the lake.
And again, I was going to follow up your thoughts on placing the final decision regarding the Lake Mitchell project in the voters' hands, and you favor that, a public vote.
Yeah, I favor the public vote. I think that, we're only one of 8 people to make a decision for 15,000 people, and that's a lot of people you're making a decision for that kind of money. And then I've heard anywhere from 7 million to 30 million to 40 million, and those are crazy numbers, and I think the public should have the final say in it.
Mitchell Main Street and Beyond is working toward establishing a business improvement district to raise funds for improving Mitchell's Main Street area. What financial commitment should the city offer to help the project succeed, or should the city steer clear?
I think that with the Mitchell Main Street and Beyond, we have Jen Johnson who runs that. I think they have a lot of good ideas, but I still think there's a lot of unanswered questions because I'm not too, they're big into putting those bump outs out on the corners. And on 6th Street in front of Jones Supply up there, and I've talked to a few of the people who, that do the plowing, and they said those are an issue with the snow plows. And they just fixed them from the last snowstorm we had, and when the plows hit them, it's not good for them. But I think we need to make Main Street look better because it needs a facelift, I believe.
So what are your thoughts on regarding improving the city's infrastructure over, say, the next 5 years?
I think that's my number one priority is the infrastructure. The things you don't see are sometimes more important than the things you do see. And with infrastructure, like out in my neighborhood on Wallace and Hanson last year, I think the water main broke 5 or 6 times in less than a week's time period. I mean, it could be a serious problem, and we got to stay ahead of the game, and I think we have been, but I think we need to concentrate a little bit more on it because it's definitely an issue.
How do you feel the city council is doing in setting the city's spending plan, and what ideas do you have for improving it?
I think the city does a good job of talking about how we're going to spend it. That was kind of one of the intimidating things when I first started last year. Is my first few meetings were the budget hearing, and that wasn't something I'd been involved with before. And when you're talking those kind of dollars, it's $35 to $40 million that you're divvying out over the city. It's pretty overwhelming your first time you do it because you're not sure who should get. Everybody wants a piece of the pie, and you just got to decide who's the right person to get this and who should get that. But I think with the council, they have a good understanding of what should be spent where, and fair with everybody, and not just handing money over to people just because they want money. But I think we look into it in a good way, and hopefully we maintain a balanced budget. And so far we have been, which I'm glad.
Do you believe city councilors should focus on the needs and interests of their wards or the city as a whole?
I think I get a lot of calls from people in my ward. You got to take care of your own people, but you're also working for the city, so it's a two-edged sword. I think you got to look out for the city, but you also got to look out for the people that are in your area, and I think we do a good job of balancing that. I get a lot of calls from, not a lot, but I don't get as many as everybody says. Oh, you're gonna get called. Your phone's gonna ring off the hook. I get some calls, and I've answered every call that I've had the first year. Some I didn't want to, but you got to do. That's why you're elected to do that. And I think you got to look at the city as a whole also, because in the long run, the city is is where you're working for, and your own people of your ward.
What do you feel your role as a city councilor is in maintaining order and decorum during council meetings, and would you support additional training to receive that goal or to achieve that goal?
I think for a newcomer first coming into the council, because it's, like I said, it's overwhelming when you come in there because you don't know if you should say this or you should say that, the right thing to say, and you're not sure. I had no idea how meetings were supposed to be ran when my first couple. At first I was wondering, what the heck am I doing here? Because I didn't know. I wasn't sure what was really going on, and then in time you figure it out on your own. But it would probably be good to have some training. I think that you're going to have some issues where people aren't going to be happy, and you got to try to keep them calm as you can. I think that's where your council president and the mayor, if something gets out of control, I think it's their responsibility to try to bring things back to an even keel. And I know they've had some problems in the past. I don't think there was any bad since I've been on there. I think it's been pretty calm. But I know that in the past, it's got out of control a couple different times. But hey, in the heat of the battle, sometimes things get said that you don't want to say, and you just got to nip it in the bud as quick as you possibly can. And I think they ran pretty calm. Like I said, since I've been there, I don't think there's been anybody that's came in irate, with where you're worried that something could happen. But I know in the past there has been, and I think that since I've been there, I think it's been pretty good.
And Kevin, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I just wish everybody would go out and vote on June 5th, whether it's for me or Deb or Bob or Mel or whoever, Tara. Just go out and vote. It's important to go vote, and I think the city's going in the right direction, and I'm glad to be part of it, and hopefully I can continue to be a part of it. And I enjoy working for the city and listen to people. People say you're crazy for doing it, but I enjoy it myself, and hope to continue to do it for the next 3 years.
And that's Kevin McArdle. He's a candidate for the Mitchell City Council from Ward 2.